Here is the story. You know that feeling when you lie very still and the whole world goes quiet? When the sounds of the day drift away one by one like leaves floating down a slow, dark river? That is a very good feeling. And tonight, before everything goes completely still, we are going to drift somewhere quite wonderful. Not far. In fact, nowhere at all. Because this story takes place all around you, above you, below you, on every side. It takes place in the galaxy you live in. The one called the Milky Way. Close your eyes for just a moment. Not to sleep yet, just to imagine. Imagine stepping outside on a very dark night, away from all the streetlights and the glow of windows, out into a field somewhere, or a hillside, or a beach. The air is cool and soft, and smells like the outdoors. And you look up. And there it is. A pale ribbon of light, stretching all the way across the sky from one side to the other, faint and soft and milky, like someone took a brush full of the lightest, most delicate paint and made one long, slow stroke across the darkness. That ribbon has a name. People have called it the Milky Way for thousands and thousands of years. Long before anyone knew what it really was, just because it looked, in a beautiful way, like a river of spilled milk floating in the dark. And then one day, people pointed telescopes up at that pale ribbon and discovered the truth. And the truth was this: it isn't milk at all. It is stars. So many stars that you cannot count them. So many stars that when you look at that soft pale stripe, what you are really seeing is the light of hundreds of billions of stars all piled up together, so far away that the light from each one is too faint to see on its own. But all together, all that starlight mixed and layered, it makes that gentle glow. Hundreds of billions of stars. Isn't that a wonderful thing to think about as you settle down and let yourself grow heavy and still? Now, before we go any further, here is a little secret. You have never been outside our galaxy. None of us have. No person who has ever lived on Earth has ever left it, not even a little bit. The astronauts who flew to the moon, still inside the galaxy. The space probes we have sent sailing out past all the planets, past Neptune and beyond, out into the cold dark between the stars, still inside the galaxy. still home, in a way. Our galaxy is so enormous that no one will ever cross it. Not in a lifetime. Not in thousands of lifetimes. If you got into a spaceship and flew at the very fastest speed anything in the universe can travel, the speed of light, which is almost impossibly fast, fast enough to go around the whole Earth 7 times in just 1 second. If you flew at that speed from one side of our galaxy to the other, it would take you 100,000 years to get there. $100,000. And that's just from one side to the other. Not a loop, not exploring, just a straight line across. Can you imagine? It's all right if you can't. It's one of those things that is so large, your mind just sort of softens around it and lets it go. And that's fine. That's a good way to feel. Just let it be big and warm and far away and wonderful. Our galaxy, our Milky Way, is shaped in a way that is quite lovely when you think about it. Imagine a fried egg. A nice flat one with a little round yolk in the middle. That is roughly the shape of our galaxy from the side, quite flat and thin, stretched out in all directions, but with a round bulge in the very middle where all the old stars crowd together closely, like people pressing toward the warmest part of a fire. But if you could somehow float up above the galaxy and look down on it from the top, if you could hover up there, impossibly far away, and peer down, you would see something even more beautiful. You would see spirals. Long, sweeping arms curving out from the middle like the arms of a pinwheel, or like cream being stirred slowly into coffee, trailing round and round. These spiral arms are where most of the stars are. They are like the busiest streets of the galaxy. New stars are being born in those arms, right now, this very moment, in great soft clouds of gas and dust called nebulae. A nebula is like a nursery. A cloud so enormous and so cold and so gently pressing inward on itself that, over millions and millions of years, bits of it clump together and squeeze tighter and tighter and grow warmer and warmer until one day, so slowly you could never watch it happen, a new star is born. A new light in the dark. Isn't it a nice thought that even right now, in the dark while you lie still, somewhere out there in one of those long, lazy spiral arms, a new star is beginning? Just beginning to glow for the very first time. Our sun, the warm yellow star that gives us our days and lets flowers grow and keeps us from being frozen solid. Our sun is one of those stars. Just one. Out of the hundreds of billions. It lives in a quieter part of one of the spiral arms. A smaller arm, a sort of side street rather than a main road. Astronomers, The people who study the sky have given our little arm a name. They call it the Orion Arm, after a cluster of stars nearby that make a shape people long ago imagined as a great hunter. The Orion Arm is not as grand as the main arms of the galaxy. It is modest and gentle, tucked a little to one side. Which seems quite right, really. Our sun is about halfway out from the middle. Not too close to the crowded center, not too far out on the lonely outer edge. Just sort of in a nice spot, comfortably placed, like a house in the middle of town. And from here, from our comfortable spot in the Orion Arm, our whole solar system. The sun and all its planets, including our Earth, including you, including this very moment, is quietly, slowly moving. Not rushing, not darting. Moving the way very large things move, with a great, slow, unhurried dignity. Our sun is traveling through the galaxy in a long, sweeping arc. A huge circle that takes it all the way around the center of the Milky Way. And do you know how long that journey takes? One full loop all the way around? About 250 million years. 250 million years just to go once around. The last time our sun was in this same spot in its journey around the galaxy, the dinosaurs had not yet appeared on Earth. Before that, there was barely any life on land at all. Just ancient seas and strange flat creatures and long, long silences. And when our sun has gone around once more, in another 250 million years, whoever is here will have no idea what we were like. It's a very, very slow and very, very grand sort of journey. And yet, it doesn't feel like anything at all, does it? You can't feel it. You are moving with it, smoothly and quietly, the way you can't feel the Earth turning, even though it turns once a day without stopping. The galaxy carries us, gently, without fuss. Now. Let's drift a little closer to the middle of things. Not too close, just far enough to notice something remarkable. At the very center of our galaxy, there is something called a black hole, a very large one, the largest thing you can imagine, made not of rock or gas or fire, but of pure, dense, crumpled gravity. It is called Sagittarius. Ash, which is a bit of a mouthful, so some people just call it Saggy. Which sounds a bit like the name of a friendly old star. A black hole is a place where gravity is so enormously powerful that nothing can escape it, not even light. If light tries to pass too close, it gets pulled right in and never comes out again. So you might think a black hole would be very dark and frightening and cold. But actually, the area around the center of our galaxy is one of the busiest, brightest, most star-crowded places in the whole Milky Way. Thousands of stars packed in close together, swirling slowly around that great dark center like petals turning in a slow whirlpool. It is very bright there, and old, and full of ancient stars that have been burning for almost as long as the galaxy itself. And the galaxy itself is very old. About 13.5 billion years. That is almost as old as the universe, which is itself about 13.8 billion years old. Which means our galaxy formed when the universe was still quite young, when the very first stars and clouds of gas were just beginning to gather themselves together into something. When our sun was born, about 4.5 billion years ago, the galaxy was already 9 billion years old. To the Milky Way, our sun and all its planets and all of us are the newcomers, the young ones, the fresh arrivals. There is something quietly lovely about that, don't you think? Let's go back to that pale ribbon in the sky, because I want to tell you something about it. When you look up on that dark, quiet night and see that soft stripe of light, that is not the whole galaxy. Oh no, that is just the part of the galaxy we can see from inside it. Here is why. Our galaxy, as we said, is shaped like that flat fried egg, with the yolk in the middle and the white spreading out all around. And we are sitting inside it about halfway out. So when we look toward the center, or along the flat plane of the disk, we see stars and more stars, all layered up on top of each other as far as light can travel, until all that light blurs together into that soft pale band. But if we look upward or downward, off to the side of the disk, there are far fewer stars because the galaxy is thin in that direction. The disk is not very deep compared to how wide it is, so we can see through it quite easily, and beyond it we see other galaxies. Other galaxies are real. There are hundreds of billions of them. Just as our Milky Way is a city of stars, the universe is a city of galaxies, each one with its own hundreds of billions of stars, each one its own whole enormous world of light. The nearest large galaxy to ours has a name too. It is called Andromeda. It is about 2.5 million light years away. 2.5 million years for light to make the journey. And yet, on a very dark night, without a telescope, if you know where to look, you can just barely see it. The tiniest, softest smudge of light, paler than the palest moth. That smudge is 2 trillion stars. 2 trillion, all too far away to see as anything but a breath of light. 2 trillion stars, and it looks like a whisper. Can you imagine? Now, there is something else I should tell you about the Milky Way, and it is a little bit mysterious, but in a soft and comfortable way, not a worrying way at all. Most of the galaxy, most of its gravity, most of what holds it all together is invisible. Scientists call it dark matter. Not because it is frightening or dark in a scary sense, but because it gives off no light. You cannot see it with a telescope. You cannot touch it or photograph it. But it is there, spread through and around the galaxy like a great invisible wrapping, a huge soft cloud of something we don't quite understand yet, and it makes up most of the mass of the Milky Way. The stars, the planets, the gas, the dust, the nebulae, the black hole in the middle, all of that, all the stuff we can see, makes up only a small fraction of what is there. The rest is dark matter, quietly holding everything in place, letting the spiral arms spin without flying apart. We don't know what it is. Isn't that interesting? We live inside a galaxy that is mostly made of something we haven't figured out yet. And that doesn't need to feel worrying at all. It can feel wonderful. There is still so much to wonder about, so much still quietly waiting to be understood. The universe is patient. It has been here for 13.5 billion years. It can wait a little longer while we figure things out. Let's talk about the stars for a moment, because I think they deserve it. Stars come in different sizes. Some are tiny, smaller than our sun, burning cool and red. These little ones are called red dwarfs, and they are actually the most common stars in the galaxy. Red dwarfs burn very slowly and very gently, and because they use their fuel so carefully, they live for an incredibly long time. Some red dwarfs will still be burning for trillions of years. They are the patient ones. The slow, steady ones. Then there are stars like our sun. Medium-sized, yellow-white, not too hot, not too cool. Our sun has been burning for 4.5 billion years, and it will burn for another 5 billion or so before it begins to change. A middle sort of star with a comfortable middle sort of life. And then there are the big ones. The enormous, brilliant, blazing blue-white stars that burn so hot and so bright that from far away they seem to blaze like the sharpest, most dazzling lights in the sky. These stars are spectacular, but they don't last long. They are extravagant, burning through their fuel in only a few million years, which sounds like a long time, but is, compared to a red dwarf's trillions of years, barely a moment. Big stars live fast and bright, and when they end dramatically. In great explosions called supernovae that light up whole corners of the galaxy. When a star explodes like that, it sends all its elements, all the stuff it was made of, spraying out into space. Iron and calcium and carbon and oxygen and all the rest of it, drifting out into those clouds of gas and dust, mixing in, becoming part of the next generation, the next nebula. The next new stars and planets. The iron in your blood was made in a star. The calcium in your bones was made in a star. Most of the atoms in your body were forged in the heart of some long-ago sun, and then scattered into space when that sun ended, to drift and mix and drift again, until, eventually, billions of years later, in this little spiral arm, around this comfortable medium-sized yellow star, they found their way into you. You are made of old starlight. Isn't that one of the loveliest things you've ever heard? The sky is very quiet now. Or it feels that way, doesn't it? The room has gone soft and still, and outside there are those same stars, the ones that have always been there. The ones people looked at 10,000 years ago when they didn't know what they were, just knew they were beautiful. They pointed at that pale ribbon and told each other stories. They lay on their backs in the grass, just like you are now, just like you, and looked up at that soft smear of light and felt something big and quiet and good. And they didn't need to know it was stars. The feeling was already there. Now we know more. We know about the spiral arms and the black hole in the middle and the dark matter wrapping it all up like invisible blankets. And knowing those things doesn't make the feeling smaller. It makes it bigger, richer. Like a story you thought you knew, turning out to have more chapters. Now. Our galaxy is about 100,000 light years across. We said that already, do you remember? That's the width. But it is also about 2,000 light years thick in the disk part. 2,000 light years of stars and gas and dust stacked up in that quiet, flat shape. And the disk isn't perfectly flat. It has a little wobble to it, a gentle curve like the brim of a hat that has been left in the sun. Nobody knows quite why. Maybe a long-ago collision with a smaller galaxy left a gentle ripple which slowly settled and became part of the shape. Galaxies have histories, just like people do. Our Milky Way has eaten smaller galaxies before, actually. Long ago, small collections of stars drifted too close and were gradually pulled in, their stars scattered and mixed into ours. There are streams of stars in our galaxy that are the last traces of those old visitors, now woven into the fabric of the Milky Way itself, belonging here as much as anything else does. Every great river picks up everything it passes. There is a group of galaxies called the local group. It is a small gathering of about 50 or so galaxies, all loosely held together by gravity, drifting together through the universe. The Milky Way is one of the two biggest in this group. Andromeda, that faraway smudge, is the other. And around each of them are smaller satellite galaxies, little companions. Our Milky Way has some satellites of its own. The two nicest are called the Large Magellanic Cloud and the Small Magellanic Cloud. From places in the Southern Hemisphere, from New Zealand or Australia or the tip of South America, you can see them on a dark night. Two little smudges of light near the Milky Way, like little sister galaxies tagging along. They are real. They are there. People in the Southern Hemisphere have always known about them and named them long before any telescope existed, and used them to navigate by night. The universe is full of companions. Nothing is truly alone in it. I want to tell you one more thing about the Milky Way before we let this story slow all the way down to silence. On the very darkest nights, in the very most unlit places on Earth, deserts, mountaintops, islands far out to sea, you can look up and see more than just that pale ribbon. You can see structure in it. Wisps and lanes of darker cloud crossing the lighter parts, where great clouds of dust block the stars behind them. Bright knots and patches where stars cluster close together. A richer band through the middle, thickening toward the galactic center. And the whole thing arcs overhead from horizon to horizon, soft and enormous, like a quiet highway stretching away in both directions into the dark. Standing under that sky, on a cool, quiet night, feeling the ground solid under your feet, smelling the clean air, hearing nothing but silence. That is one of the most peaceful feelings in the world. You are a small person on a small, rocky planet, going around a medium-sized star, tucked into a quiet part of a spiral arm, about halfway out from the center of a galaxy that is 100,000 light-years across and contains 400 billion stars. And that galaxy is one of hundreds of billions of galaxies, all of them swimming in the great dark ocean of the universe. And somehow, being that small in something that large doesn't feel frightening at all. It feels like being tucked in. Soft and warm and exactly where you belong. The galaxy is spinning right now. Slowly turning, like a great slow wheel in the dark. Taking hundreds of millions of years to go around just once. You can't feel it. You never could. But it's happening, the way so many wonderful things happen, quietly, constantly, without fuss, whether we notice or not. New stars are being born in the spiral arms. Old stars are slowly dimming, cooling, collapsing gently inward. The dark matter cloud wraps it all up, patient and invisible. The great black hole at the center turns slowly, pulling at the stars nearby with its enormous, quiet gravity. The satellite galaxies trail along, faithful and close. And our sun, our warm yellow star, carries its little family of planets around the long, slow circle of its orbit. One loop every 250 million years. Steady. Unhurried. Round and round it goes, and has been going, and will go for a long time yet. And on one of those planets, the third one out, the blue-green one with the oceans and the clouds and the long-legged animals and the cities full of light, on that planet, right now, someone is lying still. The room is quiet. The night is soft. And somewhere above the roof, above the clouds if there are any, above the atmosphere and the silence of space, the stars are where they always are. All 400 billion of them. Keeping watch. The Milky Way has been there for 13.5 billion years. It was there before the Earth existed, before the sun was born, before any of this. It will be there long after the last memory of tonight has faded into the quiet dark. And yet, right now, it is here. You are here. The same atoms that drifted through ancient nebulae, that burned in long dead stars, that scattered and drifted and gathered and scattered again over billions of years. Here they all are, arranged into something that can lie quietly and breathe slowly and feel the warmth of a blanket and listen to a story about the stars. Isn't that something? The pale ribbon of the Milky Way stretches overhead, soft and still. The stars don't make a sound. They just glow, quietly, the way they always have. 250 million years to go around once. New stars just beginning to glow in clouds of gentle gas. Red dwarfs burning slowly, slowly, lasting for longer than we can really imagine. And somewhere in all of that, in one quiet spot, on one quiet arm of one spiral galaxy, the night has gone still, and the breathing has gone slow, and the world has gone soft and warm and dark. The Milky Way turns, as it always does. Very slowly, without any fuss. The stars keep their watch. And everything is calm, and everything is old, and everything is quiet, and you are right where you belong. And there is nothing to do now but drift away, away into sleep and stars and the long, slow dark.